Okay, so we're going to put it all together. Hurry up. All right, rewriting is a single logarithm, so we're going to put these together. So let's look at number 19. We have 2 times the log of 6 minus the log of 9. So requirement number 1, they have to have the same base. Do they have the same base? No. They don't? Yes, they have the same base. They don't have base, right? They don't, well, I mean, they do, but it's just not expressed, right? What is the base? 10. Perfect. Okay. So before we can put those 2 logarithms together, there can't be anything in front of them. Okay? There cannot be anything in front of them. So we're going to use our power property first. We're going to move that 2 in front of the log of 6, and it's going to become an exponent on the 6. Okay? Now, we're subtracting 2 logarithms. There's nothing in front of them. So what can we do to put them together? If we're subtracting 2 logarithms, how do we make it a single logarithm? How do we combine them? Look at your paper. If we're subtracting 2 logarithms, how do we make it a single logarithm? It's what that graphic organizer is for, so you can look at it. We're subtracting, divide, okay? So what is 6 squared? 36. Okay? 36 divided by 9. That's a single logarithm there. And that is equal to 4. So we took something that was kind of long, 2 log of 6 minus the log of 9, and that is equal to the log of 4. Guess what? You can check it. You can check it. There are no variables. So just type it in. Type in the original. 2 log of 6 minus the log of 9, making sure you close your parentheses every time a logarithm ends, and then type in the log of 4. Look at there. Exact same number. Okay? Exact same number. So you can check after you've done these, as long as there's not a variable. If there's a variable, it's a little bit harder to check. Okay, number 20. 4 times the log base 4 of A plus 2 log base 4 of B. Do they have the same base? Yes, they're both base 4. But they have numbers in front, so we've got to use our power property first. You got to move those numbers in front to become exponents on the individual logarithms. Okay? This time we're adding 2 logarithms. How do we make that a single logarithm? Multiply. A to the 4th times B squared. They have different bases. We can't do anything else to it. That's it. Log base 4 of A to the 4th times B squared. That's it. Okay? 21. They have the same base, but they have coefficients in front. We use our power property. That becomes u to the 7th minus log base 4 of v. It was already squared. What happens when there is a power to another power? Multiply. So v squared, and then we cube it. So 2 times 3 is 6. We're subtracting. So when we subtract, if we make it a single log, what do? Divide. So u to the 7th over v to the 6th. Make sure there's a difference between your u's and your v's so that you don't think that you can simplify that more, because you can't. Okay, they have different bases, so you can't do anything else to it. That is it. Okay? All right, number 22. Ooh, we got 3 of them. Okay, but it's not bad. Okay, we just go left to right. They all have the same base. They all have the same base, so we're going left to right. So we start with the first 2. So we're adding the first 2, so how can we combine those? We multiply, all right? Okay. What is 15 times 4? 60. I'm just going to mark it out and write 60 above it, okay? Now we're subtracting 2 logarithms, so what do we do with that? Divide. 60 divided by 6. And 60 divided by 6 is 10. Can we raise 2 to a whole number power and get 10? No. So that's as far as we can go. Okay? It's not too bad, right? You just got to take it step by step. Keep your paper right in front of you. Look at your rules. Okay, number 23. We've got 3 of them again. They all have the same base. This time we're adding them all, so that's good. So that means if we're adding them all, then we can just multiply them all. But first, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the first 2 because they don't have any coefficients in front of them. But that last one has a coefficient of 1/2. So we've got to move that first. There cannot be anything in front of your logarithms before you combine them. So that 1/2 becomes an exponent of 1/2. What does an exponent of 1/2 mean? It's the square root, but if you don't remember that, you just put it in your calculator. 49 raised to the parentheses 1/2, and it's 7. So that's log base 3 of 4y plus log base 3 of 7. We're adding those 2 logs so we can multiply. 4y times 7 is 28y. Okay, let me show you a couple more. 24 looks a little different. We got parentheses. What do parentheses tell us to do? Distribute. Okay, so both of those logs right there, we need to distribute the 1/8 to. Or we could have put the 2 logarithms together and then applied the 1/3. Why do I have 1/8? That should be 1/3 right there. 1/3. 3's turning into 8s. That's not good. Y'all do that sometimes and it gets on my nerves. Your numbers just turn into other numbers. Okay. So those 1/3 have to become powers. What's 8 to the 1/3? 2. What's 27 to the 1/3? 3. And we're adding those logarithms, so we multiply the 2 times the 3. And then when we subtract logarithms, we divide. And I'm purposefully not multiplying out the 2 times the 3 because we can cancel those 3's after we divide. And that's equal to log base 5 of 2. Don't you feel kind of accomplished? That's a long problem. No. That's a long problem. You have to put a lot of work into it. But we got it. It's simplified down to something very, very, very simple, right? You should feel accomplished. Okay, so here's what I want to do to see how you're getting this stuff. Okay, I want you to try and do number 25. I don't want you to do it on your worksheet. I want you to do it on your ticket out the door paper. Okay, try and do number 25 there. Simplify it as much as possible.